Go, mate. I think I've worked out a way how to turbocharge a chainsaw and do it properly, but I can't afford to do it because I'm not working. But if someone wants to try this out, do it, man. Try it. I'd love to see the power. Now, I've got to give a big shout out to a mate called Andrew. In Australia, mates, you do anything for your mate. Friends, well, we have friends, but mates are different. Mates are, I've known him for years, and he'll drop anything to come and help me. He's a damn good mate. So he lent me this. It's off a 2 litre Subaru flat 4, and apparently it worked. But I want to use this as a purpose for the video itself. What's the back of it? Now, how to turbo chainsaw. It's hard for me to think, guys. Now, with this up here, that's the output. So you have fuel, air comes in here, and you get pressure this side. So that's easy enough, and that's what we want: more pressure to give boost up power. Now, what we have the problem with is the exhaust on cylinders. Have we got an exhaust? So, little cylinder. Once you're bottom dead center, you blow up all the air and fuel and stuff straight at the exhaust, and it won't work with a saw. You need a valve in here. I talked about the video the other day of Curious Droid that at the end of World War II they made sleeves that would slide in and out the cylinder at the right time to open and shut them, and had massive power. So I thought valve. I was thinking of the Novice Lumberjack. He's another YouTuber. He was showing stuff, and I played around a long time ago with a Stratosaur. So I'm a bit vague now on how the Stratosaurs work. I thought, why can't we have an extra chamber as a valve like the piston is for the intake? Then I thought to me, this dawned on me. I've shown the intake on the boost, on the servo intake boost, fine for air and fuel. That's your blow-off valve or gauge to regulate the blow-off valve. Now that's important. So when you do a test on the saw to see if you've got seals and stuff like that, I haven't got the tool, but if you do a compression test on the saw to see if your seals and that leak, it can hold about 5 psi, probably up to 10 psi if you muck it around. So say we're going for 7 psi pressure boost from this. So that's anything you need to have a plan. Now, I'll look at the exhaust side of this thing. Try to get you a bit closer. Now, that's exhaust. So you can imagine all the air coming out of a chainsaw, such as this is a Solo 635 Mark III. I'll explain to that in a minute. So the exhaust comes out into the chamber. It spins this turbine up, and as that spins, it spins to the actual other side where you get air and gives you boost. Now, my idea, a valve. Focus. Now, there's your wastegate. Now, my idea is to remove the wastegate. Right? That can be opened. Now, the wastegate needs to be put in front of where the exhaust comes from the chainsaw. So, essentially blocking it up. But this can be regulated by the pressure coming out the turbo itself. So, if you put a regulator, say 7 psi, once it starts spinning up too fast, it shuts the wastegate, which will be located right in front of the exhaust. So, too much boost, it closes the saw down. But it's a dance, and we all know two-stroke motors, it's a dance. So, this is designed for heat. So, when you start the saw up, it'll be fully open like that, in this spot here somehow. Fully open, but once the turbine starts spinning up, and as I said before, we need a smaller turbo. This is for a 2 litre. I'm dealing with 92 cc's, just too big. So once the saw starts spinning up, blows air in, which this will be here, and starts spinning up, we get pressure, and it gets to a certain point of boost. The regulator then will close this to be what we need on the exhaust to give enough pressure, the dance of what goes in and what comes out, which is the only way I can work it, guys. This is the valve we need on the exhaust to regulate the airflow going through the exhaust system. Otherwise, you're blowing all your fuel at the exhaust. Now, next part, it needs to run oil on the turbine here, or the bearings. Now, this is where Solo comes in. On the Solo, they've got an oil line. An oil line just here. And that oil line works out from the actual cylinder itself. So as your piston goes up and down, it takes a little bit of the pressure from the crankcase and pulls the oil from here. So there's no moving parts, there's just pressure. More you rev it, the more oil pumps out. You can regulate. There's a screw somewhere. Where is it, mate? Yeah, there. There's a screw. So you can regulate how much oil comes out. So that gives the oil for the turbo so it can run and not seize up, because you can't run without a turbo. Now, this one here compared to that one, this one's got little studs. This one's got bolts, but they're a bit weird. They're a straight screwdriver bolt. So I wouldn't use that. But the reason I'd probably use this, I can't afford to do it, but it's a very low compression motor, so it turns over. It starts really easy, but I got a broken stud in the head, so I haven't mucked around. Like, there's things to do with chainsaws everywhere, like, you know, more over there, more over there. There's always something to do, and I have trouble thinking. So this saw, I put proper Allen key hardened. They're 5mm, I think. I've done a base gasket delete in this and a mild port. So you'd mount the turbo off the front. Mate, might work out some type of wastegate system, which is like that there. So you'd have to rob a turbo wastegate, mount it first, then mount the turbo base to that. So the wastegate's inside of this, regulating how much spins the turbo up. Once it gets up to pressure, it starts backing off, and that's there's the boost side. So bolt that on, work out how to get fuel and air into the boost side, and then pipe it back around to here. But now I've got oil and I've got a wastegate which is controlling everything. But guys, I think this would work if someone could pull it off. I'd love to see someone do it. But oil and a valve. Now I've worked out a valve. So if you can work out some way of getting your wastegate to be regulated by your boost gauge, so as you build up your boost, that closes off. But I don't think it will close fully. It's like when you do a mod to your muffler. If you open the hole up too much, and I've done it, you open it up too much, you bleed all the fuel out from the saw, and it just it doesn't work right. So if you open your exhaust to the point that you think, oh yeah, that's going to be loud and nice, but it doesn't add power. It's a dance. So that there with a boost gauge, off that set up there. So once you get the boost, it starts showing that thing there. Wastegate's designed for heat, so there's no problem with that. I think you've got some type of ceramic bearing in that part there. You have to cut that off the turbo, mount that up, and yeah, then we'd have a true turbocharged two-stroke. Which, mate, I wish I could do it. It'd be so much fun. Anyway, I did it my way. This is my stroke-affected stupid mind, which I can't stop thinking. But yeah, the old girl. Now, the other reason I'd use this old girl. Oh, that's close. I didn't say. With this one here, the gudgeon pin at the top is a bush, so I don't like that, and it's got studs. Don't like that. I want Allen keys. Where this one, it's got Allen key. It's got straight cut screws, so I can update that. They go through the top of the cylinder. The other one doesn't. But this has also got a gudgeon pin with a needle roller. So this, I think it was 9.5 horsepower. Like the other Solo was 10 horsepower. That's a big girl on there. But this one's designed to spin, and it spins quite nice, and it starts so easy. So I don't want a high compression motor because we're trying to add compression. So I think something like this would come alive if we could spend the money. It's a heavy saw for stars, but if you could spend the money to somehow ever come across a bigger bench. This is a pretty big table. There's never enough room. So somehow Mount your turbo to where the exhaust comes out there. Turn your turbo around so it actually blows back in. I don't know what the smallest turbo in the world is. I'd love to see the smallest one. Does anyone know? Give me a comment. But that mount, put the wastegate in front, regulate that, which apparently it's mechanical. You can do it with air. Like I say, it's an air regulated setup. So if you connect that to wastegate, so the wastegate open and closes when required, I'd love to see the power. If we get say 15 horsepower of this old girl, that'd be unreal. But guys out there, muck around. I'm currently doing a Husqvarna 372 with a MS040 piston, so it runs, but it's like this girl, low compression, high torque. It doesn't really rev, but it just like brrr. So you could probably do that to 50 mil piston. So yeah, just you got to chop and change. It's like cooking. I like cooking, and kids love my cooking, but try different things. But I just thought of this the other day. Turbo, how can we? I'm gonna work there. You gotta have a valve. Now, once we can do that, then we can have boost. Once we do that, then we can have fun. But anyway, enough of my rambling. Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it.